My fiancé's Google search history showed how to access husband's inheritance before marriage. My family lawyer saw her at his competitor's office. I transferred everything to a trust. The next day I drafted a prenup when she saw it. She, 29 male, need to get this off my chest because I'm still processing what just went down. Been with Natalie, 27, for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. Everything seemed perfect until last Tuesday. Quick background: my grandmother passed away 8 months ago and left me a decent inheritance, around $180,000 after taxes. Not life-changing money, but enough to make a real difference. I'd been planning to use it for a house down payment after we got married. So last week, Natalie borrowed my laptop because hers was updating. No big deal, she's done it before. When I got it back, Chrome was still open. I went to type something in the search bar and the autofill showed her recent searches. How to access husband's inheritance before marriage. Inheritance rights fiancé. Can future spouse claim inheritance? Inheritance community property state. How long after marriage to claim spouse assets? My stomach dropped. But it gets worse. That same day, my family lawyer Derek called me. He was grabbing lunch and saw Natalie walking into his competitor's office, a lawyer known for aggressive divorce proceedings. Derek and I went to college together, so he gave me a heads up as a friend. I didn't confront her. Instead, I called Derek back and scheduled an emergency appointment. Within 48 hours, I'd transferred the entire inheritance into an irrevocable trust, with myself as beneficiary and my sister as trustee. Legally bulletproof. Then I had Derek draft a comprehensive prenup. Not just protecting the inheritance, but everything. Future earnings, property, the works. I mean, if she's Googling how to take my money, I'm gonna protect every penny I ever make. Yesterday, I sat her down and showed her the prenup. Told her I'd been thinking about our future and wanted to make sure we were both protected. You know, keeping it casual. Her face went through like 5 different emotions in 10 seconds. First confusion, then realization, then this weird fake smile. "Baby, why would we need this? Don't you trust me?" she said. "Of course I trust you. That's why this should be no problem to sign, right?" I kept my voice level. She started crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. Then she accused me of probably cheating, said I was planning to leave her, that I never really loved her. When none of that worked, she switched tactics. "I can't believe you'd ambush me like this. My friend Madison said her husband tried the same thing and she said it's financial abuse." That's when I pulled out my phone and showed her a screenshot of her search history. The room went dead silent. I was just curious. My coworker was talking about her divorce and I wanted to understand how it worked. "And the lawyer visit?" I asked. Her face went white. "How did you?" "Small world, Nat." She broke down then. Admitted she'd been talking to her mom and sister about making sure she was financially secure in the marriage. Apparently, they'd convinced her that she needed to protect herself by making sure she had access to everything. The kicker? Her mom's been divorced twice, and both times took the house and half of everything. Her sister's currently going through a divorce where she's trying to claim her husband's business that he started before they met. I told her the wedding's off until she signs the prenup. She left crying, saying I was ruining everything over nothing. That was yesterday. Since then, I've had 23 missed calls from her, 16 from her mom, 12 from her sister, 8 from mutual friends asking what WTF happened. One very interesting voicemail from her dad saying he's sorry about his daughter and he understands. I'm staying at my buddy's place for a few days to clear my head. The apartment's in my name, so she'll need to find somewhere else if this goes south. Am I overreacting? Part of me feels like I just nuked a 3-year relationship over Google searches. But another part of me knows that if Derek hadn't seen her at that lawyer's office, I might be walking into something much worse. Update 1. Well, shit hit the fan in ways I didn't expect. First off, thanks for all the support. To those saying I overreacted, maybe you're right, but wait till you hear what happened next. So Natalie showed up at my buddy Jake's place at 6 a.m. Not sure how she found me, but she was banging on the door crying. Jake's girlfriend wasn't happy. I agreed to talk to her in my car. She had this whole speech prepared about how sorry she was, how her mom and sister got in her head, how she never meant to actually do anything. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. I already told everyone we're using the inheritance for the wedding and honeymoon. What am I supposed to tell them now? I asked her to repeat that. Turns out, she'd been telling her family and friends that we were planning this huge $50,000 wedding and European honeymoon, all funded by my grandmother's money. Money she'd never once asked me about using. When were you planning to tell me about this? I asked. I wanted to surprise you. I already put deposits down on venues. They're non-refundable, but I figured once we were married, she'd put down $8,000 in deposits, using her credit cards, because she assumed she'd have access to my inheritance to pay them off. But here's where it gets really weird. She pulled out her phone to show me the venue contracts, and I noticed she had a banking app open in the background. Not her bank, mine. Why do you have my bank's app? I asked. Her face did that thing where someone's trying to think of a lie in real time. I downloaded it so we could manage finances together once we're married. But we're not married, and that's not how joint banking works. She eventually admitted she'd tried to add herself to my account online, but couldn't without my authorization. She'd been trying to figure out a workaround. I told her we were done. No prenup, no wedding, no relationship. She lost it. Started screaming about how I led her on, how I promised her a future, how her credit cards are maxed and she can't afford her car payment because she was investing in our future. Then she dropped this bomb. I quit my job last month because you were going to take care of us. What? Yeah, she quit her job as a marketing coordinator because she assumed once we were married, she'd have full access to my inheritance and wouldn't need to work. She'd told her boss she was leaving to focus on wedding planning and starting a family. I asked her to get out of my car. She refused, started trying to grab my phone, saying she needed to explain her side to my family. Jake had to come out and help me get her out of the vehicle. As she was leaving, she screamed, "You'll regret this. My mom knows lawyers too." Since then, her mom called my mom. They'd met twice, telling her I was financially abusing her daughter. Her sister posted some vague shit on social media about men who promise the world then pull the rug out. I found out from a mutual friend that Natalie had told people we were trying for a baby. We weren't. She's been on birth control. My credit monitoring app alerted me to 3 hard inquiries I didn't authorize. I'm meeting with Derek again tomorrow. This feels like it's just beginning. Update 2. Buckle up, because this got so much worse. First, let me address the credit inquiries. Natalie had applied for credit cards in my name. 3 of them. She had all my info from living together. SSN from tax documents, birth date, previous addresses. Derek connected me with an identity theft specialist and we're handling it. Filed police reports and everything. But that's just the appetizer to this shit show. Remember how her mom knows lawyers too? Well, she knows one. Her divorce attorney from husband number 2. This walking cliche of a lawyer sent me a letter demanding $50 for detrimental reliance because Natalie quit her job based on my promises, $8,000 for the wedding deposits, $12 for emotional distress, half the inheritance because it was commingled into the relationship. Derek actually laughed when he read it. Apparently, this lawyer is known for sending ridiculous demand letters hoping people will panic and settle. We responded with a counterclaim for identity theft, documentation showing the inheritance was never commingled. Thank God for that trust. Evidence that I never told her to quit her job. Screenshots of her searches about accessing my inheritance. Then Natalie made a fatal mistake. She created a fake Instagram account and DM'd my sister Jenna, trying to get information about the trust. Pretended to be a concerned friend asking if I was okay, and if it was true I'd hidden money from my fiancé. Jenna immediately knew it was her because Natalie misspelled the same words she always misspells in texts. Plus, the account was created the day before and only followed people who knew me. But here's the beautiful part. Natalie didn't know that Jenna's a paralegal. My sister documented everything, traced the IP. Natalie was dumb enough to do it from her home Wi-Fi and sent it all to Derek. Derek sent another letter to Natalie's lawyer essentially saying, "Your client is stalking my client's family and committing fraud. Cease immediately, or we'll pursue criminal charges." That's when Natalie's dad called me again. "Son, I'm sorry. I failed as a father." Her mother, well, you see where she gets it. I'll pay you back the wedding deposits if you just make this go away quietly. I actually felt bad for the guy. Told him I couldn't make the identity theft charges disappear, but if Natalie stopped everything immediately, I wouldn't pursue additional civil action. He must have talked to her because everything stopped for about 3 days. Then yesterday happened. I came home to find my apartment door open. Nothing broken, just open. Natalie still had a key I'd forgotten about. But she wasn't there. Instead, I found all my clothes thrown around, photo albums destroyed, my grandmother's jewelry box empty. Thankfully, I'd moved everything valuable to a safety deposit box on my bed with a note. The note said, "You took everything from me. Hope your money keeps you warm." I called the police immediately. They found her at her mom's house. She admitted to entering but claimed she still lived there, so it wasn't breaking and entering. Cops didn't buy it since she'd already moved out her stuff. She was arrested for criminal trespass and vandalism. Her mom bailed her out same day. Derek is now pursuing a restraining order. The identity theft case is moving forward. Her lawyer dropped her after the arrest. And the plot twist? Her dad sent me $8 to cover the deposits with a note. "This is the last time I'm cleaning up her mess. Good luck, son." I'm done, moving to a new apartment next month. Changed all my locks, passwords, everything. Considering therapy because I'm questioning how I missed all these red flags for 3 years. But at least my inheritance is safe. Final update. This will be my last post about this disaster. Natalie took a plea deal. 6 months probation for the trespassing, community service for the vandalism. The identity theft charges were dropped in exchange for her admitting guilt on the other charges. Derek says it's probably the best outcome. Trials are expensive and stressful. But before court, she pulled one last stunt that honestly still has me shaking my head. Her new lawyer, apparently her mom found someone desperate for clients, contacted Derek about a settlement conference. They wanted to meet to discuss division of shared assets acquired during the relationship. What shared assets, you ask? Well, according to their filing, the engagement ring. Fair enough. Sweat equity in my apartment for the 2 years she lived there. Half the value of my car because she contributed to its maintenance. She once bought an air freshener. Get this. Intellectual property rights to our story because she was co-creator of the life experiences. They literally wanted me to pay her to not write a book or sell movie rights about our relationship. Derek, bless him, responded with a single line. No. They threatened to go to court. Derek welcomed it, saying he'd love to countersue for the attempted theft, credit fraud, defamation, and harassment. They dropped it. But then came the messages from Natalie's friends. Apparently, she'd been telling people I secretly filmed her, never happened, hid millions, not just the $180K I wish, was abusive and controlling, projection much, had cheated with my lawyer's assistant. Derek's happily married with 3 kids and his assistant is 67 years old. One friend, though, Qley, reached out differently. She said she'd been warning Natalie that her behavior was crazy and she was sorry she hadn't warned me sooner. Apparently, Natalie had done similar shit with her ex, tried to get on his car loan, claimed his apartment was half hers after dating for 6 months, convinced him to add her to his phone plan, then ran up thousands in overages. Qley sent me screenshots of Natalie bragging in their group chat how she was going to secure the bag with me, how she'd researched everything about inheritance law, how her mom taught her to always have a backup plan with men. The messages went back 2 years. 2 years of planning. The silver lining? Remember her dad? He sent me another message last week. Turns out he's divorcing her mom. Said watching how Natalie turned out was the final straw in realizing what kind of person he'd married. He's getting his own prenup with his new girlfriend. As for me, new apartment in a security building, inheritance still safe in the trust, therapy every 2 weeks, best money I've spent. Went on a decent vacation with the money I would have spent on the wedding, started dating again, very casually, and yes, I mentioned prenups on date number 3 now. Natalie still texts from random numbers sometimes, usually variations of, "You ruined my life. I really loved you. Can we talk? I'm going to be homeless." She's not, she moved back with her mom. I don't respond. Derek keeps everything for the restraining order file. Looking back, the red flags were there. She always forgot her wallet, constantly talked about her friends' husbands' salaries, joked about being a stay-at-home dog mom once we got married. We don't have dogs. Got weird about me having separate savings account. Always asked about my salary after performance reviews. I'm grateful to my grandmother in more ways than one. Not just for the inheritance, but for giving me the opportunity to see who Natalie really was before I legally tied myself to her. To anyone reading this, trust your gut, protect your assets, and if someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Oh, and get a prenup, even if you're broke, especially if you're not.